here at the charming 14 Bells Fine Art Gallery in the Hydrostone Market, and I am overjoyed to be joined by the larger-than-life artist, designer, Kelly Mitchelmore.
Oh, what an introduction.
Welcome to Gallery 902.
Oh, thank you for inviting me. That's fabulous. Let's do that again.
I want to mention right off the bat, you did not start early with art. It came to you later in life.
It did, yeah.
And it was a journey, it was a story. Would you share that with us?
Absolutely. It has a bit of a background to it in that my grandmother was an artist, Jean Moser. And sometimes when I was younger, I could draw. I just, like everybody does. Everybody draws something or does, doodles or whatever. And my grandmother painted late in life. And so when she started painting, she never actually drew. And her saying was always, I can't draw a stick man, but I can paint. And so then when she realized when I was around 10 that I could kind of draw, she would get me to draw some of the flowers and stuff on her canvases. And then she would paint them. And the funny thing about my grandmother is she wouldn't tell anybody. She'd be like, oh, Jean, you're getting so good at roses. It's just really funny. And she brought me to my first workshop, which would have been with, I want to say Liz Wilcox. And, oh no, it was Jeannie Hancock. And
can I ask, how old were you at this time?
I was 13.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so I thought I was going in that direction, but then I just didn't. I got interested in boys, and then I got interested in the Navy, and interested in everything except for art. So I never pursued it, and it wasn't until, honestly, probably 15 years ago that I started painting again, and it was because we bought this really old house.
You and your husband, John.
That's right. And we wanted to start a B&B, and we were broke, and it was all smoke and mirrors. So I had to put something on the walls. So honest, we didn't even have money for canvases. Like, it would just be wood, and we would make these frames that we put on the wall and go, yeah, that looks okay, that's all right. So that's how I got back into it, was that. I have education, but no actual formal education in the fine arts.
That's amazing, though, that you've always had it. I mean, the gift was there.
Yeah.
Yes, exactly. So the B&B, a lot of work for the two of you.
Oh my.
I think you won an award, didn't you?
Well, it's not so much an award as ranking.
Yes, ranking.
Yeah, absolutely.
You ended up being very successful with the B&B.
It was really funny. So I have to go back a step for this.
Please.
Is that okay?
Yes, I want to hear it. Okay. We all want to.
Okay. I came to the right place. So it would have been that, so I was in the military for 14 years, and that's where I met my husband in the middle of Gulf of Oman during 9/11. And we decided to leave the forces and really concentrate on each other and our next step. And I always remember it because he said, if you want to get out of the military, I'll support you. And I was already in 14 years, so he thought there's no way I was going to say yes. And I went, okay. And he goes, what do you want to do? I said, I've always wanted to be an interior designer. So he said, okay. So we sold everything. At the time we were in Victoria. We sold everything. If it didn't fit in the truck, didn't come with us. He fit in the truck, so he came with us. And I went to Mount Royal University for 4 years and got my degree in interior design. I worked at an architect firm there. And then my father was getting older, and so was my mother, and my roots are here in Nova Scotia, and I wanted to come home. And again, the biggest supporter in my life said, well, what will we do if we go to Nova Scotia? I said, I've always wanted to run a B&B. And he said, okay, so once again, we sold everything. If it didn't fit in the truck, he fit in the truck again. So we came across, we found a house. It had been abandoned for about 2 or 3 years. No electrical on the second level, a natural skylight of pigeons in one of the rooms. It was a lot of work. And at the time, I was doing house design, working as a bartender at the pub, teaching as an aerobics instructor at the locker room gym, and doing the sanding floors at nighttime until we opened within 5 months. And after being opened for a year, we became number 1 in Nova Scotia through TripAdvisor, and number 5 in Canada. And we stayed that ranking until we closed.
That is unbelievable.
Yeah, we were open for 10 years.
You really truly have not just an amazing living space, but really a gallery.
I think it was year 5 that my artwork started selling off the walls. Guests were coming in, and now they were saying, "Is that for sale?" And absolutely. How much would you pay for that? And then it got to the point where we went seasonal, so that I could start concentrating on the art. And then it got to the point that I had to make a decision: close the B&B, or because the B&B was really popular as well. So we either had to get staff or only B&B, or follow the artwork. And that was in 2017. And I've been following the artwork ever since.
That's a huge decision that you guys
It
made.
was.
After putting so much work into it.
It's a great decision.
Yes, we're grateful. So talk to me a little bit more. So you did your fine arts degree? Did you?
No, I did a degree in interior design.
Interior design.
But there was, so it's a 4-year program, and there was each year, so there was perspective drawing and color theory and composition and all that. And that actually did bring that back out for me.
Of course.
I just didn't realize it until I started painting it. So,
Amazing. And then you just continue to do courses along the way.
No.
You've just done this. It's just
honestly,
organic.
So how it
Wow.
started, like honestly, was my first poppy painting. So I'm downstairs.
Tell me.
So you know the story about the popper and the shoemaker, right? So
Yes.
he never had shoes for himself, right? So it's basically us. Everywhere where there were guests, the best of everything. But for us, my studio was next to the boiler downstairs, because it was an old Victorian house, and I put a tarp over the where the stair treads were, so that dust wouldn't come down on me. And we would feed the wood boiler next to me. I cut off gloves and everything else, and I would paint down there.
And it's dark.
With no music. Well, I was a nocturnal painter at the time.
Incredible.
I know it changed once I moved up into one of the, it used to be a 5-star bedroom, now it's not a 5-star bedroom anymore. But what happened was, I was down there, and I don't think we had any guests. I hope we didn't have any guests, because I drank a lot of wine. And it was around 2 o'clock in the morning, and my husband came downstairs and said, "What are you doing down here?" And he saw the bottles. There's probably 3 bottles of wine.
And it was hours you'd been down there.
Oh, this was around 3 o'clock in the morning. He had gone to bed at around 9. I said, "I'm going to go do some painting." So he came downstairs and goes, "What are you doing?" And I at that point, I guess I had finished, and I was staring at it, and he goes, "Did you do this?" I said, "I did." He said, "I'd buy this." I said, "I know." And that was my first poppy painting, and it was with knives. And I had never even picked up a knife before. And I just went with red and poppies after that. And it was just a very natural thing for me.
Kelly, I know something wonderful about you is you love to support local. You have a quote, "Your community is only as good as you make it."
Absolutely.
I love that.
Yeah, you're only as strong as your community is, and you have to help build that. You can't just take from it.
You need to give back.
Absolutely, 100%. Yeah.
Now, I know that you donate some of your pieces, which is huge in itself.
do.
You donate your
I
pieces
do.
to help local charities.
Yeah, pretty much any way that I can. For me, I know that artists, especially local artists, they get asked so many times to donate that a lot of charities are now embarrassed or afraid to ask. And I get it, I do, because it's always, after 5 years of giving a painting, they're like, "Oh, should I ask again?" And my response is yes. If I can't give it to you, I'll say no. But for artists, most of us are like, "Oh, if they don't ask me, maybe they don't want it anymore. Maybe it didn't do that well." So I have a couple of things that I do every year, and then different charities that I change up. So, for example, I do a show every year from the house. And each year the theme is totally different. Last year was my 13th show. It's a
You
solo show.
open up your home.
Oh, the whole thing. And there's wine from Avondale Sky Winery. They've done the wine every year. Although one year we had kegs. We won't do that as much. It was fun, but didn't sell a lot of art.
Different
But
experience.
It was really fun. And I used to invite other artists to show with me. But what has happened is that through COVID and I had to reinvent how the show was, and now I'm very comfortable with how it's taken. So now it's just solo shows with my art. But each year the charity is different. So I've done everything from part of the proceeds going to breast cancer, heart and stroke, SPCA, until recently I do a grant and, not a grant, a bursary to the local high school. And so how I do that, I have everything from, I have sucker draws, like you pull a sucker and if you have the red, you win a painting. And I have a Goodwill donation, but then I have 3 baskets and you can win a basket. So, and all that money goes directly to whatever charity that I'm doing. And so I'll donate the painting. So what it is, it's not that I take a proceed off of what I raise, it's that I donate my paintings for them to win and they buy the ticket because it seems much more fun and nobody's committed into buying a $400 piece. They only have to buy a $2 ticket and it goes directly to them. So during COVID, I couldn't do the bursaries because everything was so strange and new and all that. But I just had another show finally where I opened up the house. And this time I did, part of the proceeds went to the VON because I recently lost my father, and they are such heroes. They are so amazing. So part of the proceeds went to, I found out who would actually benefit from this, and I coordinated with the pneumologist office, and I bought them gift cards. So they went directly to the people. I think I got like maybe 25 of them or something like that. So it's just really important because I'm allowed to do what I want to do because you are supporting me. So I have to support you back, right? It's just, it seems very natural to me, so.
Kelly, that's incredible. Because I know it has been a heavy year for you.
It has. But you know, it's been a heavy year for everybody. Like, I also donate, besides that, I donate about 10 paintings a year to different charities. So SPCA gets one every year, Elder Dog gets one every year, the Festival of Lights, Christmas Angels, I'd have to look, but I do, and they do them on silent auctions or they do tickets, whatever they want to do. Our local radio station, Rewind, Darren, love him, they get one every year for Make-A-Wish. So it's just really important that but it helps me as well, right? I mean, people now see my work in a way they wouldn't see it. So it's this symbiotic kind of circle.
It is a connection.
Yes.
You're keeping it.
Absolutely.
They must just sit and wait with anticipation. What
I think they got a lot more going on, but I don't think they're like, oh my gosh, there's a Kelly Mitchelmore.
No, but to see what piece and to see, because they're seeing your growth.
They're extremely appreciative. Like they make me want to give more, like not less. And like I said, it really helps me as well. And you'd be surprised how many artists do that. Like so many artists do that. Yeah, absolutely.
It's incredible. I know we mentioned COVID. A lot of artists, sort of presented different things online during that time. But I know for you, it was very important that you promote hope and positivity to really help mental health, for sure.
Yeah, and it was so many different aspects in that. So just before COVID, I was about to do my biggest show ever. It was called Uber and Under. And I did the biggest paintings I've ever done and the teeniest little paintings I've ever done. It was so cute. They were right beside each other. It was amazing. And then COVID hit before March, but things started closing down at the end of March and mid-April. And my show is always the first Sunday in May. So 2 weeks prior to the show, I had to make some big decisions. And my husband, who is, again, huge supporter, but also incredibly smart, I hope he's not watching this, I never tell him that, was able to convince me to go online. So he made this amazing online shop for me, and we started the first online show where we did a video tour, and I dressed up in the nines as if you were there, and I had my wine, and we went all through the house. I got rid of the furniture. I had it set up as if it was a show. And we did the video, and then we had the show online. And the support was epic. It was absolutely amazing. And so after that first show, I felt this, wow, this is incredible. And then I think we're all very surprised to see that COVID in the new year wasn't going away. That was that first year. It was settling in, and it was here to stay, and it was going to change us. So I thought, my next show is not until May. I need to do something else for these people. I need to do something else. And I saw all these workshops online, but I didn't feel right asking for money. It didn't feel right, because I do workshops in the house, and it just didn't feel right. So I just got up one day and I went live and I said, hey, you're stuck in the house, I'm stuck in the house, want to paint? And I said, this is what we're doing for the next second Sunday for the rest of the next 6 months. So I must have done, I think I did 10 free 2-hour online workshops through Facebook. And it was so fun because I do them, and they were hokey and they were fun, and I would do dad jokes like, what did one streetlight say to the other streetlight? Don't look, I'm changing. And so I'd have a whole bunch of them because people would bring their children to this, and they'd send me pictures, and it would be this huge Kelly face on the big screen. I'd be like, oh my goodness.
So it was family friendly, no wine?
No, well.
Sometimes was there?
It was coffee, I swear. But it was extremely family friendly with all the jokes and the paintings I did that you would enjoy them as an adult, but your 5-year-old could go right next to you. And I only used primary colors and said, if it's house paint, use house paint. And we used things like, Q-tips, because also at the time, you couldn't get supplies because they hadn't perfected curbside pickup yet. So it was only online. And then some of the art supply stores, I forgot all about this until we're talking. This was so cool. Some of the art supply stores made Kelly packages. So if you were doing a Kelly workshop, they sold the little packages, and this was all you need for because I never changed the supply. It was really, it was humbling. It was really awesome. Yeah,
That's
great.
also supportive.
It was incredibly supportive. Absolutely, 100%. Yeah, and then what happened was, and now I have these people. I have 2 followers from Spain, right? Like it was global. It was, I mean global as in the most views I ever had. I think were 200, but some of them were, international. So yeah, it was great.
Kelly, we're at my favorite part of the show, the showcase. And we are surrounded by your new series, Nova Scotia Proud, Nova Scotia Strong.
Mm-hmm. Actually, it's changed names since. Now it's called East Coast Strong.
I love it.
I know, because I want to include more than just Nova Scotia, although it is beautiful just to be on its own. But I have now had requests for Newfoundland scenes and PEI scenes and stuff like that. So, yeah.
And I like that you were able to evolve and
absolutely. Anything that's coastal or in the valley or anything like that, it needs to be captured. Maybe one day it'll be North America Strong. I don't know.
Where did it start?
So it actually does have a definitive beginning, which I know most things don't, but this actually does. So a gentleman who has liked my work for a long time, and I have, he works at a local school, and one of the things that I do is I do a mentorship program. So I'll go to the school and I'll do a workshop for them, and then one of the students that are trying to get into NASCAD or Mount Vincent or something like that, they'll come to the house and have a studio day for me, and we'll paint for the whole day, and then they have to represent that as part of their portfolio for when they graduate.
Of course you do that.
So one day I was in there and I was doing that, and this gentleman flagged me down and he said, listen, I have an idea. I love your work, and I want a painting of Blomidon, but I know you can do this, and don't get offended. He said, I love your style and your colors, but I'm just wondering if you can incorporate a really loose kind of knife abstract something to it. And he gave me a photo of a painting, and all it was colors. It was just colors in movement, nothing but that. And I'm like, and I don't want to use his name. So I said, are you crazy? Because he's my friend. I said, this is gorgeous, but this looks nothing like my style. And so I said no. And then
you did.
I did. I said no. I said, do you want some poppies? I'll give you some poppies. And then he must have asked me about, jokingly, but I'd say for the next 3 months, just going, Kelly, can you do this? And then I'd say, first of all, I don't do landscapes very often because I don't connect with them and painting. And I said, and 2, it's just not my style. It's too rough. And then one day I thought, I'm just going to do it. So I said, I'm just going to do it. And he said, can I see peeks or studies and said, no, I'm just gonna do it. And then you're gonna buy it or you're not gonna buy it, but this is gonna be over. And it was hell. It was, oh my gosh. So I had the picture of the painting that he was inspired by the style, right? And again, it was just loose color and how it was applied. And then I had the picture of Blomidon from his window and what he sees as Blomidon. And so I'm trying to incorporate these two, and I keep going back to, well, I should do poppies. So it was a real, it was a chase. It was a chase against the knives, against my feelings, against the paint. I must have gone through so many paintings.
I feel like I'm right there with you.
It was crazy. I ruined the first canvas because I kept scraping the paint off, and eventually I cut through the canvas. So, because it's knives. So eventually I got to this technique, and I've honed in on it. And when I finished this painting, I didn't tell them it was done because I was so scared I wouldn't be able to do it again. So I did it 2 more times. Same scene, same color palette, but different sizes. I presented him with all 3 and said, this is the scene, this is the size you asked for. Here are 2 more. I want your permission that I can sell these because this was your idea. He was floored, he loved it. He said, you should do a whole series and you should call it something like Nova Scotia Strong. And I said, I'm not doing that. Well, I was so intrigued by how I got to these textures that I just started doing more, and I really enjoyed it. I really enjoyed it. So how the style is that it has this old faded look, as if you're seeing the canvas. You're not. It's layer upon layer upon layer of paint. So you feel that you're seeing the canvas, but it's not. I keep putting that texture or those colors on, and then I wipe them off, and then I put another layer on, and I bring a hint of it back, and I wipe them off. And I do that both with big brushes and smash it right into the canvas, and with knives, and a lot of water. I spray the canvas in between I know my grandmother's right now saying, don't tell everybody what you do. And then, so one painting, my gosh, it starts out amber, and it ends up all these different colors. So
can I ask
and
how
I love it.
long would that take? Because that's a insane process.
Yeah, I know, right? So then I go to these live paint things, and some of the artists do 10 paintings. I'm still trying to finish my 1 paint. I know there's an easier way. I know there is.
But this is your process.
Until I find the easier way. And then I'm doing that. It's because I'm still learning. Every day I'm still learning. I've done everything from flowers to landscapes to clouds, and every single time I paint something, I look at it and I think, wow, last year I never thought I could have done that, never even would have tried to have done that. So I have to try, because sometimes it doesn't work out, and I go, okay, I can't paint those. I can't paint animals, I can't paint people. But sometimes it works, and this works.
So you took a chance. You really did. I mean, initially you were really wanting to help a friend, and
yeah.
But you took a chance, and looking around at all of your pieces, there are so many in this series. You just kept going.
This is my next step, I feel, to my evolution. So as a painter, I don't think it ends here. I don't know where it ends, because I just did a painting that branched off from this series that I never would have thought to have tried. So now I'm like, well, if I can try that, what am I gonna try next? So I just know that I'm gonna paint until I'm no longer on this earth.